Well, hello. My name's David Powell. I'm a fellow of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, and I've been doing boundary disputes since 1989. I've been instructed in just over 3,500 of them, and I can't possibly teach you everything there is to know about boundary disputes in a short talk like this. But what I would like to cover is one or two things that will help you when you go to do maybe your first one or change the way you've been doing existing ones. So the first thing I'd like to say is a little talk about equipment, because you may or may not be a land surveyor. I am a land surveyor. I qualified in 1967, so I can come out with all the land surveying jargon. But boundary disputes really are about common sense, all types of surveying, but based on a land survey, which you may or may not do yourself, which I'll come on to. So I'd like to leap straight in because I've got quite a lot to cover in about half an hour or so. And I'd like to start with slide one. There are actually 8 slides, and I'll talk you through each one. But slide one is what's called a total station. Now, a total station really is a theodolite that measures angles horizontally and vertical, with an electronic measurer incorporated inside it. So basically, you can set it up on a tripod, a land surveyor usually, but it doesn't have to be, point it at something, press the button, it does a bleep, and then you move on to the next point. And then when you get back into the office, you plug it into the computer, or you can email the results to the computer, and it'll come up with all the dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that you've measured to, and all you've got to do in the office is join up the dots. Now, there is a problem with that, of course, because you drive perhaps a couple of 100 miles back home, and then you don't draw it up till next week, and you've forgotten what the dots are. And that's why it's very important to keep a sketch, numbered sketch, or some sort of diagram, so that you don't, in a week or two's time, forget what the points were. And you can see the disto looks quite complicated, probably, if you haven't seen one before. But don't worry about that, because later on I'll be telling you about how to supervise land surveyors if you don't want to do the survey yourself. When I talk about the survey, I mean a map that can be used ultimately in court, if necessary, to show where the probable boundary is. And I say probable with everything. And I know barristers don't like it. They like us surveyors to say, there's the boundary. But what we have to say, there is our opinion of where it is. And of course, 10 surveyors may come up with 10 different boundary lines. What you do need, though, is a very good plan that may have to be used in court. And if it's not used in court, then it may be used to register the boundary with land registry, or just as a simple agreement between the parties. So that's the total station, which you've seen.